Hi, welcome back to the show. My name is Symon, and today I have something different, something I never did on this channel before. As many of you guys, those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I'm a filmmaker. This is the main theme of this channel, Symon Says TV, the Filmmakers channel. So we're talking about movie making here. You know that I'm a film director, but I'm also an actor. I started as an actor many years ago. And you know that I shot a lot of short films, but you also know that I wrote a feature film which is ready to be shot, which is all in those two books here. Part number 1, part number 2, 120 pages total. And this is my feature film ready to go into production. There's even a few pictures inside of that because we shot a rehearsal on location many years ago. And so I had stills from the movie, from the trailer, and I've decided to put them in the story where they belong, and that makes it almost a novel. And since this one is my copy, the director's copy, there's a lot of additional stuff in it, and it reads like a novel. There's a lot of stuff in it, and so I would like to read for you the beginning. So part 1, the beginning, about first 10 pages or so, which includes the short synopsis, the intro, which is a backstory of the main character, and a scene which I call the overture, which is a scene that has not much to do with the story, but it leads up to the story. And I'm going to read up to scene number 1, and I'm going to stop there because I want to keep the secret. So without further ado, let's start with the synopsis, short synopsis, and I'm going to put my reading glasses because that's where I'm at. There we go. The short synopsis. What could possibly unite these two misfit strangers seemingly bound together, the time of a journey? What brought them together at first, and what could possibly be their mysterious untold destination? Well, hopefully we'll find out by the end of this adventure, but only if we can connect the dots in the right order, because Medium Brown 35 is also a story where two realities coexist, but only one is true. Now the intro, the backstory of my character. Our story happens during summer, an average summer, not too hot, not too chilly, the type of summer we all tend to forget with time because nothing really special happened. No special event, no new trends, natural catastrophe, or anything else. In fact, it was a typical summer, which resembles every other one's looking back at it. Well, this is true for you, for me, and most of us, but not for Tom Smith, which is a temporary name. For Smith, it was a very particular one, a summer he will remember for the rest of his life. It all goes back some 2 years ago when everything started falling apart. You know that pivotal moment in time where some unfortunate, relatively successful guy loses control of his perfect life and everything slowly starts drifting away in a concerto? Well, all the instruments that can make your life go from success to nightmare overnight eventually got in tune for this one. So everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. It all started when his recent girlfriend, who kept reminding him that he was the love of her life, left him for another man. Boy, after making him fall madly in love with her, this one really knew how to break a man's heart. Anyway, as you can imagine, that event didn't go without any consequences. Therefore, having a tough time dealing with her betrayal, he eventually got fired for very mediocre performance at work later that same year. To add on top of that, he was approaching his late 40s and was going through a middle-life crisis, questioning, reevaluating himself, and trying to find a reason for his life. Also, haunted by the weight that the years had on him, his self-confidence was obviously not at his highest. He was completely lost at the crossroad of life. In other words, he was feeling like a total waste. Now, summer was approaching, and he wasn't looking at it in a very positive way, since he was completely broken and agonizing in debt. Also, being single, he couldn't count on anyone else to help him financially nor emotionally. But one morning, he took the decision that it was all about to change. That day, he decided that no matter what, he was going to turn this bad year into a good one by spending the best summer of his life. At least he intended to make it very memorable. What he had in mind was to make a road trip to a destination that was yet to be determined. In fact, the destination didn't really matter to him at this point. What was important was to drive, 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 and get away. Not only to escape, but also because driving is something Smith really likes. So he wanted to please himself. And he was ready to do it no matter what, even if it meant spending every last penny he had in his pocket, regardless of the consequences. He was even ready to make the trip with someone else, anyone if needed. Someone he could split the bills with if there were no other option. Now, the story doesn't tell us exactly why or how it happened, but he ended up making his trip with Marco, temporary name, a younger man of about half his age, a guy who would appear to be not so familiar to him, at least not at the beginning, a guy we would have to figure along the way who he really is and what he is doing in the story. And that is where all the magic is going to come into play. Now, that's not all there is to know, but I can't tell you more for the moment because I myself am not sure if I got it right. So I wouldn't want to leave you on the wrong track. So buckle up because these two misfits will carry us in a strange adventure and will make us live some weird situations, some funny moments, and, well, I'm going to let you judge by yourself. But first, and because this story is nothing like you've ever seen before, let's take a look at how this whole project started with this opening scene, and maybe it has a purpose and maybe not. Overture, day, inside, coffee shop. Inside a local coffee shop, we start hearing a conversation happening at the cash register by the counter. The sound and the image are getting progressively audible and visible. As we understand, we're getting into an actual everyday situation, introducing us into the story. The cashier gives the leading man 2 mugs. That'll be $9.24. Leading man answers, thanks. Giving a $10 bill, he leaves, walking to the table by the window to join his friend, lead number 2, comfortably sitting in a couch, doing his own thing in the meantime. As he takes place in the other seat facing his friend, the lead number 1 makes no effort to be polite, as we easily understand that they know each other pretty well. Lead number 1. Caramel, macchiato, mikado, I don't know the fuck you call that, but I believe that's your regular shit. Oh, it's okay, I don't even know myself, thanks. You know, you should really quit drinking that shit. It's full of sugar and nobody really knows what else is in it. Well, apparently milk is not better. Nothing has been 100% proven about that, so it's still just theory as far as I'm concerned. Plus, mine here has 0 fat milk in it, so it's good. Yeah. Lead number 1 continues. So what's happening with the car? Oh, we finally fixed the brakes. We, like in you, with a friend. Is it going to be safe? Yeah, it was no big deal. And what about the rear window? Nah, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Lead number 1 continues. Well, we really have to do something about it or else it's going to be a fucking pain in the ass if we don't fix it. Yeah, I know. Lead number 2 takes a pause and take a zip. So, do we have a final draft? A smile appears on lead number 1's face as he looks proud of himself. Yeah, we're almost there. Nice. Lead number 1 loses his smile. But there's only one problem. What? Number 1 takes a pause, announcing the news. Well, we won't have Harvey Keitel nor Orlando Bloom. You got the answers? Number 1 nods. No kidding. No, that's true. What did they say? Well, they both refused. Oh no. That's right. Fuck. They said anything? Unknown director, and apparently we don't have the budget to afford big stars like that. Shit. Lead number 1 continues. Big stars. Fuck those suckers. It's not like if they were the stars of the moment. We could have reboosted their dying career, if anything. So what are we going to do? Well, we have 2 options left. We push the project forward, try to get the money and come back at it in a few years. And in the meantime, well, we can go back shooting our Alien short film this summer. Oh, fuck. Or what? We can make it happen anyway. What do you mean? can make it happen anyway. I don't get it. Lead number 1 continues. We can play the leads. We, who we? You and I can play the leads. You can't be serious. Why not? Well, nobody knows who we are. Hey man, we've been looking for those kind of roles for years, and now that we have them, we were about to give them away to those suckers who can't even appreciate a good script. Come on. Oh, I know, but it won't work. Well, I'll make some minor adjustments and everything will be fine. Let's face it, we're better suited for the roles than they were anyway. I don't know. Be honest, we only wanted them because they were bankable, and I'm not even sure they still are. How are you going to sell the movie then? Well, we'll buy some cool rock and roll music, we'll throw that in the mix, and with our kick-ass scenes, everybody will run to see the movie. Come on. Everybody's asking for new faces. We'll be those new faces. And how do you know they're going to buy us? Well, you know what? I was thinking of adding a new scene at the very beginning. We'll open with an action scene. You and I running in the forest like crazy with a very suspenseful music. We'll have some big close-ups of our faces. I'll add some gunshots. We'll look cool as hell. And they're going to buy us from the very beginning. Then we'll have them in our back pocket. And they'll be patiently waiting 15 to 20 minutes for the next action scene to come. What's going to happen next? What? How this scene is going to fit in the story, says lead number 2. I haven't thought about it already. You mean that scene has no other purpose to be in the movie other than for us to look cool? It doesn't make sense. Of course it has. I just haven't figured it out yet. Listen, we'll be shooting all summer long, so we'll have time to figure it out. And I'll bring it back by the end of the movie. Lead number 2 looks very skeptical. Lead number 1 continues. Hey, we'll be the second new wave, man. You know what? Forget about new wave. We'll be a fucking tsunami. We see lead number 2 with his big eyes looking at lead number 1 as he wants to believe in it. Then starts seeing the big picture in his head, dreaming without saying a word. Then, realizing that lead number 2 buys it, number 1's replies. Now I think we have a final draft. Fuck, man. Come on, let's finish those tasty chemical drinks and go back to work. We have a feature film to make. Cuts to black. Now that leads us to scene number 1, day outside in the forest. We're in the forest, alongside the road. Marco, a young man, 25 years old, is running for his life, throwing some looks behind now and then, making sure he doesn't get caught. We don't really know why he's running, but it appears to be a tragic moment to say the least. Although he seems scared as hell, he shows glimpses of smile from time to time, maybe due to the stress factor, but nothing is less sure. After a while, we see an older man, Tom Smith, also running in the same direction. Tension is palpable. He seems angry, but we don't know if he's running with Marco or after him. Then as we go back to Marco running, we hear some gunshots. Bang, bang, bang! But we can't figure where they're coming from. The chase lasts for close to 2 minutes, going back and forth from one guy to the other, never seeing both of them at the same time. It's a very long and intense moment. An intensifying drumbeat is marking the moment. At the same time, not a single word is being said, leaving us with no clue of what the hell is going on. Then suddenly, as we hear another gunshot, bang! Marco falls on the ground and everything goes black. How exciting is that? Okay, let's take a deep breath and calm down just a little bit, because that's not how our story begins. In fact, we'll go back in time a few days before that event took place, so you can understand what brought them to that situation. Now bear with me for a while. We'll get back there, I promise. But for now, this is not the picture I want you to have in mind, because it all started in a very different way. And that leads us to scene number 2, but I'm gonna stop here for today. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you liked it. It was different. I'm not used to read in front of the camera, so I hope I did not too bad of a job. And leave your comments down below. I'm open-minded. I'm ready for any type of comments. And in the meantime, well, see you next time.